Hi, everybody. I've had an absolute blast recording your championship intros on audio and also on video. And for those of you that didn't know, the videos can be done special exactly the way you like them, because these are green screens and we can do them with a scene behind me. Do you want a fighting scene? Do you want a beach scene? Do you want a race car scene? Any scene you want, we can give it to you. It's your theme and my pleasure. Just write our offices and we will answer you with the exact fee involved and how it'll get done. So here we are, and now it's time, and it's your choice. Cheers!
From the shores of Malibu where the waves are pumping, to the Great Wall of China where I hope nobody is jumping, and back to the streets of Las Vegas where the UFC is coming, we are live. This is It's Time Radio, the show we talk about you think about but may be afraid to voice. Do not worry, we'll voice it for you. We talk about it all at its time. No holds barred radio, folks. Sex, drugs, rock and roll, UFC, entertainment, TV, film, you name it, we'll talk about it. I'm here with my co-host, TJ DeSantis. TJ, week gone by, no hair has grown, everything good. How are you?
Well, why do we got to go there, Buff? Come on.
I just like the dome. I think you have a great dome.
Oh, my
it's
goodness.
all good.
I mean, at least it's not misshapen. You know what I mean? But I would be lying if I said I wouldn't want a mane of hair, much like Miesha Tate's hair, if I could, if I was honest.
You know what? This makes me think of Ryan McKinnell when he was he's like, I have a bone to pick with GSP. Because for so long GSP sported a bald, haircut. He just shaved his head. And then like a few years ago he just started like growing his hair and like styling. He's like, this whole time he could grow all that hair, and he's like so jealous about it, but it was hilarious. Made for good hair. Good old Ryan McKinnell.
It's a whole different appeal when he has hair. I mean, but he looks so good. But he's one of those guys, doesn't matter what he does, he's going to look great, Yeah. He's got it all down pat. Speaking of Miesha Tate, we have the former UFC champion, great fighter that she is, Hall of Famer that she is now. We'll talk about that. But Miesha, great to have you on the show. Thanks for coming on.
Yeah, thanks for letting me interject before you even really introduced me.
No problem. Miesha and I were together this weekend, TJ.
Okay.
We both had the honor of being at the International Sports Hall of Fame Awards. And for reasons of being inducted, I was inducted with Miesha, Jim Plunkett, and others. Quite an honor, most definitely. And Miesha, I don't know if you have it there, but I'm going to share our award.
Oh, let's see it.
Oh, yes. Yes,
Yep.
You can hold that. It's weight enough for both of us, man. It's heavy. That thing's heavy. Look how
Holy
big.
crap.
Yeah.
Look at that.
That's
It's
like a belt.
it's like 10 medals in one, at least.
It's
Yeah.
heavy.
More.
It's very
It was.
heavy.
Hmm.
Yeah, but it's really beautiful. Look at that.
It is. And it was quite an honor. There was a lot of, Phil Heath was there. There was, gosh, now I think of all the names. But yeah, there was some really great people to be inducted by. And it was so cool because on Bruce's induction, they have this little video that they do when they induct you. And I was part of it. I was wondering if it was going to show me getting introduced by Bruce, because I remember when I first came to the UFC, how excited I was to hear Bruce Buffer say Miesha Cupcake Tate. Cupcake. I couldn't wait for him to say that. And it's always a great moment whenever Bruce introduces me, whether it be on a podcast or whether it be anywhere. But I'll tell you what, that first moment in the UFC when I heard him say Miesha Cupcake Tate, it was awesome.
It's funny you say that, Miesha, because I even remember back when I first introduced you and I got the bio with your nickname. I get excited over certain nicknames like Cupcake. Oh, I'm going to make this work, Cupcake. What a great nickname this is. It's so cute. A fighter can bash your face in and break every bone in your body, and I'm calling her Cupcake. Usually the bad guy, the bully, calls the guy's about to beat on Cupcake before he beats him up,
Well,
So
that's originally how I kind of got this nickname. I was the only female on the wrestling team, and people thought that women shouldn't wrestle, and it was kind of like judge a book by its character. And as I moved into fighting, everyone always kind of just thought because I was a girl that I was a cupcake, that I'd be soft and fragile and what you don't want to call somebody. And it used to really irk me, used to really make me mad, because I feel like I worked so hard, and yet there was still this stereotype about females in combat sports. And so I said, you know what? Screw it. I'm going to embrace it. I'm going to adopt the nickname. I'm going to say, you want to call me a cupcake? then let's see what, what I'm made of. Lock the cage door and see how soft and sweet I am.
I love that because you're not supposed to pick your nickname. You're not. Like, nicknames are
Right.
earned and given. They're not just, I'm going to wake up one day and decide to call myself the Soul Assassin and, or the Terminator, So Cupcake, it's good. You turned a negative into a positive.
Yeah, that was
Absolutely.
exactly, it's like embrace the irony of it, and you got to turn it into something that you can propel yourself forward with. So I said, you know what, instead of being angry about it, and I'm just going to brush it off, and I'm going to adopt it. I'm going to roll with it.
Speaking of rolling with it, Miesha, I always wanted to ask you, everybody's beautiful in their own way, but you're a very beautiful lady. And in your career, everything you've done, have you ever been approached by the Playboys and stuff like this to, do things, or does OnlyFans come after you? You know how everybody's coming after everybody these days. Do you get approached by that kind of stuff?
Yeah, so yes, to answer your question, I have been, and it just wasn't the route that I felt like I wanted to go at the time.
Good for you.
So, Playboy was in a transitionary period where they were kind of not really doing as much nude anymore. So, I mean, that's one part of it. But then their OnlyFans did approach me, and it was a pretty lucrative deal, but I just didn't feel compelled to move on it yet. I think that OnlyFans is turning over its reputation, not just for adult stars and those things. So, maybe there's a potential someday down the road, but of course, it's not going to be what I think OnlyFans fans would expect. It would be personalized content, but not explicit. So,
Yeah.
if I did consider something like that, it would just have to be where people are used to not getting, adult, X-rated type content on a forum like that, and I think OnlyFans is actually working really hard to change that narrative that's typically associated with OnlyFans. So I don't say never, but it's just not something I'm even actively looking at the moment.
Well,
Yeah, I did the body issue though. I did do that one. So, that
yeah, the
was
body, that was beautiful though. That was classy. That was done in such a nice way. That was a very, very classy pictorial. As far as OnlyFans, yeah, they are trying to go back to the straight content, not the. That's the way they started, and then it turned over the other way. And when I asked you that, I didn't expect you to do anything other than like behind the scenes content, that kind of stuff, which I'm sure you
yeah.
do quite well at. And I know they're handing out bonuses. They came at me also. And they offered
See,
me
I
a
think you
nice
should
bonus.
do it, Buff.
They
I
came
think
at
you should
me.
do it.
No, I'll tell you what it is. First off, the amount of social media I do now, to me, takes up enough time.
I got you.
And as far as OnlyFans, you'd have to do like daily content and update. And I, of course, would do it all, business content behind the scenes of what I do. And I know I could do well at it. I, like Miesha, I agree with Miesha. Right now, I don't want the connotation of OnlyFans on my brand. With all respect to OnlyFans, in a few years, we'll see where it goes and if I want to take the time to do it.
Here's my thing, Bruce. I think you lean into it because, like you said, there is that connotation. I remember Angela Hill came out and said she was on OnlyFans, and I was like, wait, that's not Angie's personality, but it was that behind-the-scenes stuff showing training, and it sort of made sense. If you were on OnlyFans, Bruce, I think that would grab headlines because people would immediately think the wrong thing, and then they would eventually be like, oh, okay, and you could do little motivational speaking things and all sorts of stuff. The opportunities there are great.
Yeah, but there's always a term in business. Never come from a point of weakness. Not that it's a point of weakness, but or have to answer questions and explain yourself. And I don't want to have to explain myself.
I don't think you would explain yourself. I think if people were asking you about it, it would be you promoting a product. You know what I mean?
When I get to that point, like I mentioned, there's a possibility. Right now, Cameo is my OnlyFans. So,
I like it.
Yeah,
Can I just say, having worked with a lot of women in this sport, Miesha, I didn't understand. I'm not trying to alienate people, try to get weird. I didn't understand the level of creeps that are out there, and I'm sure you get these.
Oh,
all
I can
the time.
imagine what you put up with, Miesha.
Well,
My good, it's terrifying. I'm scared that we're going to talk about this. We're going to get pulled off of YouTube. But
yeah,
please tell us.
It's one of those things that's like, I don't think many men in general really realize what any woman can go through on a regular basis. Men, not all, but men by nature have a more predatory type feel to them. Men are more predators and women are more prey, and that's just the way that we feel that in our innate sense of being. That whether you are walking to your car and somebody honks at you and scares the absolute living daylights out of you, or whether you feel like someone is like just undressing you like they don't have no respect. They just look at you
Right.
in a way like you're a commodity. With
They're
their eyes,
objectifying you.
yeah, and women feel this. I think all women feel this at some point in their life where they feel like, hey, I feel a bit threatened right now. Like, I'm not sure if this situation is totally safe for me. And that's not something I think that most men experience, at least not on a regular basis. You know what I mean?
I experience it in the octagon, Miesha. I envision 1,000 people in the audience undressing me while I'm standing center. No, I'm just kidding.
Honestly, Bruce, I wish that men had to feel some of the things that female athletes or just any woman in the spotlight have to feel, because I think it would correct their behavior. Because, like you said, I don't know if predatory is the word, Miesha, but I think primitive. I think that might be the word. Guys tend to just lose all sense of manners at times. And if a guy just woke up to 25 DMs that said, hey, let me see your feet, they would all stop doing what they're doing without thinking about it first.
Good old taste of their own medicine.
Yeah, taste of their own medicine. Absolutely.
But, I don't understand what it is with dudes and feet. I never knew this was a thing until recently.
Feet is...
You didn't know that was a thing until recently? That's been a thing for a long time now.
Long time. And feet, I've learned from people that are on OnlyFans that they say that that's what they get the most requests for.
And the most money for, I think. I don't know. Maybe I should just start a Miesha Tate's Feet OnlyFans, I mean, how bad can it be?
If they only see your feet, I mean, they could be a foot double. You know what I mean? You don't need to be you.
Yeah, exactly. I don't have any tattoos on my feet, so why not?
Yeah.
There's a lot of fetishes out there, but that happens to be one of the huge, not one of mine, but it's a huge fetish amongst men.
But,
go ahead.
Wait, I was going to say, but you know what you were saying, Bruce, about being so overwhelmed and busy, I think I'd have to find more ways to delegate or something like that, because I don't know if you guys know, but I've started my own podcast. I don't know if we're going to get to that. Yeah, Built for Growth, and I'm truth seeking. I'm on this mission to truth seek the hell out of everything. I'm trying to have conversations with people who think alike and think not alike with me, professionals, personalities, doctors, you name it, that I think are honest people. I do my best in that, obviously, to vet it. And I can't promise I'll be perfect in all of it, but I can promise that I will be as honest and transparent as I can be through the process, because I think that people deserve to know the truth. And I don't totally trust a lot of the regulatory bodies that are put in place to keep us safe and well fed, and our children safe and fed and free of chemicals and toxins and all kinds of crazy things out there today, things that I believe are causing cancer, depression, overdiagnosis of ADD. I think a lot of it comes from food and our diet. Kids waking up and having cereal in the morning is probably one of the worst things that I could possibly think of kids doing. And I bet you 80% of kids across America do. They'd have no idea. Not only is it high in sugar, but it's high in glyphosates and potentially atrazine. And, atrazine is a really scary chemical compound because it was originally used to castrate pedophiles. And 75 million pounds of it, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, is sprayed on our food in America before harvesting. Wheat, chickpeas, it's one of the worst, most pesticide-laden foods that there is. So you think hummus is a health food. It's not healthy unless it's organic. And then wheat, they spray it. So in Europe, they do use glyphosate, but they only use it during the grow phase. They do not use it right before they harvest it. In America, they spray it on every single piece of wheat that exists inside the United States, unless it's organic, and they use it as a drying agent so that they can harvest the entire field at the exact same time. That means they spray it and then they harvest it. It's so toxic that farmers are not supposed to go out for 4 or 5 days on the field after spraying it. You cannot tell me that if it is designed to destroy insects on a cellular level, that it wouldn't affect us if we're exposed to even a small amount every single day, you know? And I think about like the decisions I would have made differently when I was carrying my children had I known. But this is not common knowledge. And this is the kind of conversations I want to have. I mean, and it's not all heavy stuff, but a lot of it is just bringing awareness and enlightenment to people who want to grow, who don't want to have passive change in their life. Like they want to learn these things. They want to be healthy. We think we're being healthy. You know, you eat, a salad. Well, what if that salad's been sprayed with a bunch of chemicals? You know, if I put a drop of antifreeze in a gallon of milk, would you drink it? Would you give it to your friends or loved ones? No, you'd be like, But it's like such a tiny amount. Sure, you probably wouldn't even notice it. Somebody could probably have a drink of that and be fine. But it's the same kind of concept that's going around here in the U.S. And there's a lot of pushback. I don't know if you guys saw it. Did you guys see the Congress at the Senate? That discussion that was like 3 hours long, and they let all these top health professionals like Callie Means and Casey Means and Jordan Peterson and his daughter and like so many others get in there and actually kind of rip apart all the things that are wrong with our food system.
I didn't see it, but I have heard like some of the guidelines that the FDA enforces or says they enforce on certain things. Like there are going to be so many, parts per million of like really toxic, chemicals in our food. And sometimes it's even weird, like bugs can be in your food. Like there's a certain amount of like fly legs that are allowed and stuff. It's weird.
Well, there's that, but also, you get to other areas too. Like I read recently about candles, scented candles.
Yeah, anything
burning inside the house, what they release, and the stuff goes into the carpet. So if your baby's crawling along the carpet and putting their face on the carpet, they're getting all these toxins in. It's just got to be aware.
And correct me if I'm wrong, Miesha, like the U.S., for whatever reason, we have much less rules on what sort of genetic modifiers and things we allow in our food than the rest of the world.
There's so many things. If you look at Fruit Loops in Canada or in the EU, no, did I say that right? Over in Europe, basically.
Yep.
The color of the Fruit Loops will be completely different because in those countries, they use things like celery juice, beet juice, carrot juice to color them. Here they use artificial dyes, which are strongly linked to ADD and all kinds of other, issues. They're known neurotoxins, So I just think more people should be aware of this kind of stuff. But, I don't just have heavy conversations. I do want people to know on the podcast, I had like Tim Kennedy on recently, Nick Freitas, some great personalities that just really bring knowledge, but also like enlightenment. So as I'm truth seeking, I'm also looking to enlighten people and, hey, make it easier for you to make better choices for your family. That's
why we're having you on the show, Miesha, so you can enlighten our audience.
Enlighten. By the way, are you wearing a sweatshirt from my season of The Ultimate Fighter?
I think it is.
This is actually from the Brazilian.
Oh, it's the same colors.
It's the same colors.
Same
it's the same
colors,
colors. But I do remember that there was another season. I was like, I don't think they made sweatshirts like that when my season was. So yeah, it had to be a newer one.
No, it's one of my favorite. It's got the Brazilian logo over here. It's one
of
my favorite sweatshirts to wear.
We'll just cover that up with the
we're
cupcake.
talking about. I'm sorry, I don't mean to talk over you, TJ. We're talking about all this stuff. I want to just announce at this moment while we're talking about health and this, that, and the other. My It's Time Energy product is now going in all the stores around the country. I'll be announcing more about that. But if you go to itstimeenergy.com, you can order directly and have it delivered to your house. And I will say that none of the toxins that you mentioned or anything is in this can.
Okay, good. I hope so. Don't scare me.
I'm not going to scare you.
I love you to death, Bruce, but I'm not an energy drink drinker, so I won't be.
That's okay. That's okay, because I'm not either, right? Either tomato. But the reason when I did get behind developing It's Time, I wanted to make sure that unlike the other energy products that are on the market that have taurine and a bunch of sugars in them and all that, no, not here. Not here.
I still think you're missing a no-brainer marketing-wise, Buffer. You need a lime flavor, and it needs to be called It's Lime.
Yeah, well, it's lime. Yeah, perfect.
There's
I love
apple
it.
and mango coming out. This is red berry. There's 4 different flavors, so it's all good. Check out itstimeenergy.com, folks. And Miesha, I totally understand because I'm not an energy drink drinker, but I do drink this.
Okay. Well, yeah. I mean, I mean, maybe, but you know what? I don't even drink coffee. By the way, did I mention the name of the podcast? Did I say it?
You
I say-
did. You did. But say it again.
And tell us where we can get
Built
it.
for growth. Built for growth. Sorry, my brain is everywhere today. Built for growth.
Where can we watch it, Miesha?
Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube. I think pretty much anywhere you'd listen to a podcast. I have a newsletter. You guys, I'm
newsletter?
really trying to. Yes, a newsletter comes out every 2 weeks. And it's, if you go to MieshaTate.com, you can sign up for it. There's a lot of cool merch and stuff like that. My whole website has had a little facelift, so it looks nice. But this newsletter, there is no AI. I'm writing it myself. I do it. I have 2 weeks. I write it all myself. Take the pictures with the intention, and it's very personalized. Sometimes I share recipes. Sometimes I share, I'm also certified as a behavior change coach. So I offer great tips in goal setting and setting long-lasting behavior changes. So I try to share that insight in there as well, and give you discounts and include you guys on giveaways and things like that. So, yeah. Okay, enough pitching. Let's move on.
No, Miesha, I like this because, listen, post-fight career, or is it post-fight career? That's a question we're going to ask you. You're expanding. You're expanding your brand and all these different things. I think it's wonderful. I think it's great.
Yeah, you know what? I feel like I'm blessed. I feel like God's blessed me with an opportunity to have a voice and a platform. There's so many other places in the world right now that don't look like 2024. When I think over in Israel and Palestine, in Saudi, in a lot of countries where, women struggle to have anywhere near equal rights. And what a shame for me to be in such a blessed country as America and not take advantage of everything that I've worked so hard for. And what I really want to do is help people, because I think it's one of the most rewarding things I've ever done. And I also think that by helping others, I'm also helping myself, which helps my children, and all around. It's just a good thing, right? And trying to figure out the truth, trying to decipher. There's so much misinformation out there these days that it's really difficult sometimes to make the best decision.
Paying it forward, Miesha, and that's what you're doing. Paying it forward. Cupcake.
Yeah. I'm trying to.
But
Hey,
I mean,
Miesha, on the fighting end, you were in the audience when Juliana Pena was fighting. Do you think she won the fight?
I do. Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely. I think Julie won the fight. And that I really try to look at that very unbiased, because I love Raquel as well. I think they're both great women. And they both helped me a lot in my career. They were both on my season of The Ultimate Fighter. So, I was going to be happy and sad either way. But look, I thought Julie narrowly won round one. It could have gone either way. But I think if you have a trained eye, you would have noticed that she was outlanding more of the jabs. And that's mostly all that happened in the first round, was throwing a jab for a jab. And I think that Julie landed more of those with more efficiency. And that was just really what it came down to. And it was probably, a difference of maybe 10 jabs. It's not that Raquel didn't land at all. She just didn't get the cleaner of the exchanges, I thought, in the first round. It's close. Second round, Julie clearly won. Third round, Julie clearly won. Fourth round, Raquel clearly won. Fifth round, Raquel clearly won. So it really came down to round one. But in my eyes, I thought Julie outlanded.
I agree. And had I announced it the other way, there probably wouldn't have been much argument. It was that tight of a fight. So
yeah, it was really close. I'm not surprised it was a split decision. Not at all, because that first round was very close. And a lot of people make the argument you got to beat the champ to be the champ. Well, I get that sentiment. I appreciate that, but that's just not how judging should work. Nobody should have an advantage. If you are the champ, make sure that it's known. Make sure that it's not up for debate, and that's your job. I mean, as the champ, you have the most weight on your shoulders of anybody. You got to be prepared to Raquel put her foot on the gas pedal in round 4 and 5 because she knew, but you got to do it sooner if you don't want to leave that to the judges.
Here's the thing about that statement: you got to beat the champion to become the champion. That's not how math works, guys. You know what I mean? It's a scoring system based on 5 mini fights over the course of 25 minutes. You win round 1, you get 10 points, etc. What I think people fail to realize, and this is something that you alluded to, Miesha, was for whatever reason people tend to lean towards the latter rounds being worth more than the first rounds. And if you are someone who thought that this fight was Juliana Pena's. It comes down to that first round, and largely it was a round where you mentioned the jab was on point for Pena, and it was a bit of a feeling out round. But it doesn't matter if that round is super close and super early and not a lot happens. If you still win that round, you get the same amount of points as you do as if you won the fifth round. And I don't know. I like the scoring system. I think a lot of people talk about how the 10-point must system isn't really right for mixed martial arts. I don't see a better way in doing it. But, what are your thoughts, Miesha? Do you think we need to change the scoring system?
Well, I don't know if I have a better idea for the scoring system, but I do think it would be helpful if we had more than 3 judges. I would be happy with 5.
More than 3, Miesha?
More than 3.
Wow.
Yeah, 5. Because I think with 3, the more people you have, I just think the better odds you have of accumulation of the right opinion. It's not really hard to go wrong when you have 2 people who don't see it right and the rest of the world who is like, what the hell? It's like the more people you get in on that, I think that you kind of start to have more of a larger consensus of people who are seeing it in a congruent fashion. You only have 3 people. I mean, I just feel like it's easy for it to go wrong, especially if 2 of them are really uneducated, never done the sport themselves. That's easy. That's really easy to happen.
I think you are onto something with that, Miesha, because you only need 2 people right now to make a mistake to award a fight to someone and change their entire lives. Granted, you'd only need 3 if there were 5. I still like the idea that we need to have 3 people screw up rather than just 2. The odds of 3 people making a mistake, I just don't think it exists as much as 2 people being misinformed, if you will.
However it falls, if you could look at my face when I go over to the judges' table, sometimes I try to hide it. Obviously, when I'm in the octagon, I'm doing my thing. But at the judges' table, I'll be like, really?
Buffer, sometimes I feel like you're stressing out because you just don't even know if they're doing the math right. I mean, how many times has it happened where you announce a winner and then we find out, 10 minutes later, they've made a mistake? It's happened more than once.
Listen, with all respect to the commissions all across the country and the world, I'm going to stay mute on that subject. I can tell you a few stories, but I think just human nature is human nature.
Well, let me ask you this, Miesha. What do you think about open scoring? Do you think we should take a look at that?
I'm fine with open scoring. I don't really have. I don't really have a strong preference, but if I sit back and I think about what I like to know the scores, I would, because I don't think it changes anything about the way the majority of fighters fight. Yeah. Just like I don't think fight bonuses change the way the majority of fighters fight. I think either you come to fight or you don't. No amount of money can change that. Like you know what I mean? Like these if you ever went to an amateur fight card, do they fight like crazy?
I mean, not really. I think that they fight. I mean, I don't know. I do feel like sometimes when they have more to prove, we see fighters regionally or on the amateur level kind of show out a little bit more than maybe playing it safe at the pro level.
Yeah. So if anything, money just changes, like makes you more safe. You know what I mean? Yeah. I feel like amateurs are more likely to just like fight because they love fighting. They're not looking for any other, exterior values. So in my opinion, I don't think that open scorecards hurt anything. And it's helpful to know that, like if you're going to get a surprise,
yeah.
I wonder if it would have changed things if Raquel knew that she was down 2 rounds going into the third. Maybe she thought she won round 1. That helpful information? Would she put the foot on the gas? Now, for everybody else, I don't know if that's a spoiler alert. I'm just looking at this selfishly. Right. I probably would like to know just so I'm not surprised. And I know if I need to try to get a finish in that 5th round or if you clearly thought you won, the other rounds. So I don't know.
At the same time, Miesha, the only thing I think that open scoring could affect is potentially, depending on the fighter, is if a fighter's so far ahead on the first 2 rounds that they back off in the third. But like you said, if you're there to fight, you're there to fight.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think it would be worth testing. And I wonder if, how did it go with Invicta? I know that they tested the open scoring. TJ, maybe insight on this. Like, what was the consensus? Did you happen to notice any change in fighting styles, like in a big, impactful way, or did fans feel any different way about it?
Yeah, the only difference that I noticed, and I'm agreeing with you, I didn't think the output really changed much. And to what Bruce said, if a fighter's clearly up, 2 rounds going into the third, are they going to coast? No, I think that they're fighting, intelligently no matter what.
Right.
What I will say, and it's a little weird, and I don't think that it should be this way at all, especially because a fight can change at any moment. You can be up on all the scorecards no matter what, and then you get kicked in the head, and your night is over. But it is weird going into the third round, Miesha, knowing the scores and knowing that no matter what, we're going to end up getting a split decision because one judge has already scored 2 rounds for one fighter, and an opposite judge has done the same thing for the other fighter, and then there's someone who's at 19-19. We'll get Miesha Tate here back in a second, but I firmly believe that open scoring is really important, not just for like the fighters in that individual fight, Bruce, but when you're in the back and you're watching the fights unfold, you're starting to realize and get an idea of what the judges are valuing more throughout the night. Our takedowns leading to victories, our effective get-ups and staying at space and throwing strikes being
Right.
valued more. Is volume being rewarded more than maybe quality? Maybe you need to throw more rather than hope to land more. And I think that's super important to sort of think about when you look at open scoring because Miesha mentioned the spoiler thing a moment ago, Bruce. Like, could you imagine the idea that, we know what the score is at the 2-minute warning in the fourth quarter, so it's a spoiler? I'm like, no.
It's the same risk you take in any sport, but I don't know if it's going to change. One of the thing I know is that the rankings, they rank Roundtree number 8. Dana was very upset about that. He wants to take the rankings out of the hands of the media, control it in the UFC, which when you think about it, maybe that's a wiser choice. But, there's always speculation about all these things, and we'll see how they all pan out. But look, as it stands right now, we're dealing with a very powerful, the most exciting sport in the world. All wheels are running. All wheels are turning. Let's just roll with everything until the changes are made. And I think a lot of people out there that are watching, they're not really quite fully aware of how the fights are judged. So they'll judge it as they see fit. There we have Miesha back.
Yeah. Well, so Miesha mentioned this a moment ago, and maybe this is what we need to do with rankings and how they're configured is I'm not a big fan of AI, but I do like the idea of maybe a point system, an algorithm where you leave it out of subjective people's minds, make it so if you beat number 2, you take the number 2 spot or something like that. Because I don't know how Khalil Roundtree doesn't go up in the rankings after that type of performance with Alex Beda.
That's where the big speculation is, and we'll see how that all pans out. Miesha, we've only got a few minutes here, so I want to go over a couple things with Miesha if I can, TJ.
Oh, you're the boss, Buff.
I'm just Bruce. Don't call me the boss. Okay, Miesha, you haven't fought since December. You watched Juliana fight. Are you going to get back in, or is it done?
Yeah, definitely. I'm looking probably at maybe starting a training camp right around the first of the year, kind of get through the holidays at this point,
Cool.
enjoy that with the family. I'm working on building myself back in all those ways, and then maybe in the spring. So to see where some of these events are coming up in the spring. I don't think it's released yet, but
I know where they are, but I can't say, Miesha. I know where they are.
Well, I heard a little rumor too, so I won't say anything, but there's some place in the spring that I might be very excited to fight at that location. So I don't have a date yet, but I have a location in mind, and if it's in the spring, then that would be perfect.
Hey, the great words Khabib, send me the location, and you'll be there, right? It'll all be good.
Send location.
During that Hall of Fame weekend, I had the honor of opening up the Olympia contest that night. I don't know if you went to see it, but it was quite an exciting event. Different sport, not really my sport. I mean, although I'm into fitness very strongly. But all respect to all the people and the competitors in this, because their dedication to get to the point of being on that stage and winning. The top winner in the men's division, check for $600,000.
Wow, that's a lot of money. I didn't know there was that kind of money there.
There's a lot of money, but I was surprised. Second place, $250,000. $600,000. That's a life changer for somebody.
Is that relatively new, Bruce? Because I feel like that's a sport that was maybe more for the diehards than anything, and not a lot of money.
I'm surprised too, TJ. I had no idea that they made that kind of money.
I don't have an historical knowledge of what the purses have been. My first time announcing it. I'll be back the next year, schedule permitting, to announce it again.
Is it the same in the women's? So no.
No, I'm sure it's less, as normally it rates with men to women in equal opportunity positions. But easily the women got 50 to a couple $100,000 easily,
Okay.
because they were handing out some heavy purses for some other categories too.
Kind of to
Yeah.
tie this back in, did you guys know that bodybuilders seek out breast milk from mothers because apparently there's something inside of it that allows them to build muscle much easier and
I
faster?
did know that. And I think part of it is that there's stem cells in the breast milk.
Is that what
So
it
breast
is?
Probably,
I
yeah.
don't think that's
Oh,
all of it, but I think
right.
that's part of it is the stem cells.
Interesting.
So, there's probably more to it than that, but breast milk is a live food, so it really adapts to
Yeah.
your body and helps. Some people argue that the stomach acids of an adult are too strong and they kill all those things. But I don't know the truth. I'm not a doctor or a scientist, but yeah. I remember when I was breastfeeding my kids. My daughter was for a year and my son was a year and a half, and I had my son had an allergy to milk protein, not lactose, but the protein. So I had to
Mhm.
cut out all dairy in my diet for about a year.
Oh,
And that
wow.
was really
Wow.
tough. But in that time, I actually pumped about 300 extra ounces and donated that to a local milk bank, because there's so many babies in need that they can't have regular formula, or
Yeah.
if the mom's not able to produce whatever. So to have like dairy free breast milk is kind of like a high commodity. But anyways, that was one of my proud of me. Didn't really tell anyone about that, but like happy to be able to do that.
Well,
Very
it's
cool. I
good.
love
It's
all
good for
these
you to.
health and fitness and nutritional knowledge tips by Miesha. This is great. Definitely check into her podcast. The name of the podcast again, Miesha?
Built for growth.
Built for Growth. I like it. I like it. Hey, a couple quickies before we go. Miesha, you into baseball at all?
You know what? I would say by way of Johnny, I am. By way of my man. He's a huge Dodgers fan. He finally just bought me a Dodgers shirt after me giving him shit for like years, because when we first found out we were pregnant and we had our first ultrasound, we went to the like the playoffs game for the Dodgers. So this was back in 2000. I probably get the language wrong on this. You can tell how much of a baseball fan I truly am. I'm certainly more of a casual fan, but I'm trying to learn. I'm interested. There's a lot more. It just with any sport, like with NASCAR, for example, I just thought like, oh, they just turn left. There's so much that goes into it. So now
There's
I'm much
so
more
much
of a fan.
more.
Yeah, so I've learned, and the same thing with baseball. It's like I didn't I didn't play it growing up, or didn't have any reason to really be super invested in baseball. But now, we're more of a baseball family, so I'm trying to follow it along. So I consider myself a Dodgers fan who's trying to learn more.
Well, speaking of a Dodger fan, the Otani we talk about every week, the 50 home run baseball that he hit.
Oh, did that sell yet?
Yeah.
No, it hasn't sold yet, but the auction now is at 1.7 million.
Oh, jeez. Wow.
Oh,
Crazy.
geez, for
And
baseball,
the
that is
Dodgers
great.
offered the guy that caught
But
it
he's breaking
300,000.
all kinds of. I mean, he's really an amazing.
He's
And
incredible.
Johnny was telling
He's
me like, and
incredible.
he's a pitcher. That's crazy. I'm like, so, you know what I mean? Like, that's not even his. Not that they can't all do it all. I know that they can do it all, but the fact that he's worth his weight in gold as a pitcher as well makes him quite a hot commodity, huh?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. In our UFC world here, Platinum Mike Perry got arrested for a DUI recently.
Oh,
Can imagine what the police went through on that stop. Sorry to hear about that, Mike.
yeah.
Mike's in the bare knuckle fighting. Miesha, promise me you're not going to do bare knuckle fighting.
No, no bare knuckle fighting. No,
Okay.
no, nothing
Not
too
that
extreme.
I'm not putting it down by saying that. I just don't think you need to do it. I mean, it's just my thought.
I agree. I don't have any intention of doing bare knuckle, and I will not do slap either, you guys. I just
I
don't.
can't see you ever. I don't see you doing that either.
What
I
about
can't
combat
do that.
jujitsu? What about
Yeah,
combat jujitsu where you get to
yeah,
slap people on the
sure.
floor?
Yeah,
That's
sure.
different.
Okay,
Of
Paul
course,
strikes.
of course,
All
of
right.
course. Yeah, absolutely.
You
Actually,
know,
somebody just asked me if I would be interested in, like a wrestling match with Kat Zingano, and it wasn't. It was just a fan. I'm not saying I got like
Mm.
proposed this or whatever, but I was like, you know what? I never thought about running it back with Kat, like grappling only. That'd be kind of cool. I'd be down for that.
yeah, running it back. I think the combat jiu-jitsu is great for you too.
Yeah.
Obviously, this is all your decision, of course. And I wasn't putting down the bare knuckle fighting. I mean, it's definitely becoming a very big success. Connor's rocking it now as partial owner of the organization, taking it all over the world and having his fun. So, big cheers to all the fighters that go into it. Um, Miesha, I just don't want to see you getting spoiled.
No, you
reason
know
for it.
what? I found my sport and I love it. And again, great for everybody who's doing bare knuckle. But, you know, not only the damage to your face, but the damage to your hands. You guys
Yes.
see their hands after the fights. I mean, they just
Yeah.
look like balloons. They take a lot of damage, and I just, I'm trying to keep my body as intact as possible. And I think that just doesn't serve me well for the things that I want to do in my future. I don't want to invite broken hands into my future. Not that I can't break them in MMA, but knock on wood, I never have.
Well,
So
well,
Oh, you've done so
here's the thing
well.
about hands. Like with bare knuckle, I know everyone talks about the lacerations in the face, and that's definitely sort of like what sells the intensity of it. But your face will heal relatively easily. I mean, outside of like
yeah,
an orbital fracture and things like
Yeah.
that. But your hands, I mean, fighters have broken their hand one time, and it plagues them the rest of their career.
One of the
Really
reasons
hard to
they
heal
do
your
that,
hands.
I'm sorry, TJ, one of the reasons for that is they don't let it heal 100%. And they
Yeah.
go back in and fight, and then you're just going to constantly deal with stuff. Miesha, we got to close up the show. I wish we had more time with you. I'd love to have you back on. There's so much to talk to you about. So before we go, real quick, another thing I noticed here too in the economy, Walgreens closing 1,200 stores nationwide.
who is?
Wow.
Walgreens,
Oh,
Walgreens.
Pharmacy, Walgreens,
the
yeah.
pharmacy, they're closing
Yeah.
1,200 stores nationwide. Another sign of the economy and what's going on.
You know, they're one of the few pharmacies that have like been nothing but standalone. Like even like CVS has worked their
Yeah.
way into Target and things like that. That's interesting. I think they're probably the largest pharmacy company in the country as far
That's
as like
what I
retail is.
understand.
Yeah.
well,
With
you
that
know
being
what,
said,
you guys, the economy's rough. I know we got to go, but I want to say like a quick comment on that really quick, and I don't want to get too political. I don't want to tell people how to think or vote or nothing because I think that's very anti-American. I do want to
just get
encourage
out and
people
vote.
to vote. Yes, please, like get out and vote. This is, I think, a really important election. But I myself, as a mother, one of the things that I am the most focused on is one, our food, and make America healthy again. I'm all on that train. And number two is trafficking, children being trafficked. And I've contacted multiple sources. I've heard from multiple sources and also had direct communication with some people who have verified that at the border, under the current circumstances, there are children being trafficked knowingly, and our border patrol is just not allowed to do more. They are coming across the border with phone numbers written on their bodies. They call the number. Our border patrol calls the number. Says, "Are you expecting a child?" Yes, they send them. And I think that is a really big issue for me. I personally love children. I love all children. I just see barely a degree of separation between my children and other children. If I could save every child in the world, you bet your butt I would do it. So for me, those two issues, and there's one party that's talking about making America healthy again, RFK, Trump, love him, hate him, whatever.
Yeah.
Just think about, I'm not saying as a person, whatever, but the policy there for me speaks loudly. And also, the trafficking of the children was not how it was in the prior presidency. There was DNA testing required. The border was much more secure, these things. And it breaks my heart as a mom to think about the undocumented children that are flooding into the United States without a real way to save them, because we don't even know that they exist. Some people know they exist, but not the people who need to know. And it's just something I wanted to bring to light and keep in mind. So not that I planned on bringing that up, but when you said Walgreens closing, I'm like, man, that's economy. Economy's rough right now. And that got me into, it's a couple things I think people should walk away with this. Just thinking about, and do your own research. Don't take my word for it. But
I think it's pretty obvious the problem out there, and I agree with you, Miesha. It's a big problem, and we all need to pay attention to it and do what we can. Most definitely. It's horrible.
Yeah.
It's horrible.
All right. Well, we'll have to have Miesha back. I feel like we've only
Miesha, there's so much
scratched
more.
the
We gotta have you
surface.
back. Gotta have you
Yeah,
back.
let me know. Anytime. I'm happy to do it. You guys are great. TJ, it's good to see your face again. I think last time I saw you was well over a year ago now at Invicta. And Bruce, I just saw you last week, but could never get enough of Mr. Buffer. So
Oh,
that's great.
thank you, Miesha. Thank you. You're one of my favorites of all time, Miesha. I'm proud to announce all your fights and to call you my friend, and I appreciate that. It's a lifelong friendship.
Absolutely.
Definitely. I'll be seeing you around the UFC campus. You're there with your
Yeah.
man, having a good time at the fights. It's always good.
Yeah.
All right,
Cool,
okay,
guys.
Miesha. Everybody check into Miesha's podcast. Miesha, tell us again the name where they can see.
Built,
Obviously, everywhere, Spotify, you name it. Health. What
yeah,
is it? Health.
it's built for growth, hosted by Miesha
Built for
Tate.
growth.
Guys, yeah. So there's, I have an Instagram, Facebook for all of that. But you can find me at Miesha Tate, just MIE. Don't forget, don't spell it backwards, because then you'll probably just get some dude on the other side trying to get money out of you. So make sure you go to the verified profiles. And if you want to sign up for my newsletter, again, you guys, I'm not using AI. I write these things myself, and it takes me time, but I care about it. I want to make sure it's my voice coming across, because as I truth seek, I need to be transparent and genuine. I mean, I think if you guys watched me on Celebrity Big Brother 3, I think it was actually, you'll see that my approach to that whole thing is the only reason I won is because of being truthful and honest, and I have to carry that with me. It's just the I don't want to call it a burden, but it's what I've been assigned. I think is just trying to find the truth in all of this and be transparent and truthful in my journey as well. So you'll get that with the podcast, and you get that with the newsletter. So I appreciate you guys for having me on today. Thank you guys, and anybody else who's interested in furthering this journey with me, then let's do it. Let's do that.
You got it. Speak the truths, be honest, move forward, pay it forward, do all the things, and you're doing it all, Miesha. Congratulations to you. It's a pleasure having you on the show, and we're having you back. There's more to talk about. TJ,
Yes,
talk
sir.
to you next week or the week after. Got Abu Dhabi next week, so probably won't have a show for a couple weeks because I have to travel.
You got it.
Okay. And
Bye, guys.
TJ, you want to say anything?
No, just it was fun talking to Miesha. If anybody wants to follow me on Twitter or X or whatever they call it now, it's at TJ DeSantis, and that's it.
Sounds good. All right, everybody, check out Miesha Tate in every aspect of Miesha Tate, newsletter, podcast, you name it, she's doing it. Adventurous and entrepreneurial woman. Congratulations to you, Miesha. Okay.
Thanks, guys.
Pleasure having you on the show. Everybody, take your shot, set your goals, write them down. When you step on that yellow brick road to your future of success, be the best you can be, whether you're first, second, third, or champion, because that's called winning. That's what we're all about in It's Time Radio. That's what Miesha Tate's all about in her life, and we all wish the best for you and the same. So keep on winning. Big cheers to everybody. Buffer out. Have a great week. Bye, Miesha.
Bye.